There are people who, in fact, are so planned with an agenda that they can't look at that best practice and say, maybe we ought to do what they did. They're not open-minded enough, and they're not honest enough into the conversation. And so here's that soundbite played 2 years ago that is relevant right this minute.
But in the context of our culture, which in this case would be democracy, we claim that the rule of law is our foundation. But the problem is the rule of law becomes at the mercy of those who rule the law. I'm saying something too serious. In other words, the law is supposed to rule, but somebody could be ruling the law. That means they could change the law so the law could rule you the way they want the law to rule you. In other words, you can end up governing the law. In a few months, I understand, in our own country, we will be amending the Constitution. The Constitution is the ultimate document that rules the country. The Constitution is the ruler of our country. The rule of law comes from that piece of document. That piece of document is dangerous. That's why you don't touch it. So when you begin to tamper with what we call Constitution, it's like the governor trying to influence the king. Because once you can change the Constitution, then the Constitution rules the people. If the law in the Constitution is changed to produce a different culture in the country, then everybody is a victim of that law.
So Bill 4. You heard what Miles said just now. So we look directly now at Bill 4. This has some kind of insight into if we do things to change the culture of the country. We don't subscribe to this whole thing of same-sex marriage. That is far, 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 far away from the sentiments and the spirit of our preamble of the Constitution that talks about what we believe in. So that's a direct shift to the change of tradition and culture and our way. No matter who's dictating and saying, if you don't do this, we can do that. It's a direct thing. That's why it's a very important soundbite that I played for both you intelligent gentlemen to take a look at that, since you are modernized politicians who will have to be futuristic politicians in this country to shape it for the next generations of Bahamians who are the heirs and successors
of these family islands. You know, it's interesting, Steve, that you would use that Pastor Miles spoke about culture and that you touch on the issue of culture. The Prime Minister, in his contribution in the House, mentioned culture. But he spoke to it in reference to what was said by the Vice President of the United States in Trinidad when he met with Caribbean leaders. And he was talking about the agenda of sexual orientation and rights. And some Caribbean leaders were saying, but that ain't our culture. Jamaica being one that has proven such. His words to them, from the lips of the Prime Minister, from the lips of our Prime Minister, and as to what was reported in the papers, his position to them was, your culture cannot trump rights. Your culture shouldn't trump rights. As a matter of fact, the State Department of the United States was going to move in the direction of voicing its concerns on that particular issue globally. That was the word given to us. So when my colleague speaks about, and remember now, Steve, we live in the shadow of the greatest nation the world has ever seen. There has never been one like it. The United States of America. Make no mistake. President Barack Obama says, when they were talking about military things, he said, man, listen, He said, don't make no mistake. He said,